be. Right the year I actually went on to be the head coach of the Lakers. And as far as guys doing it today, yeah, I'm sure guys could do it today. I mean, they're better conditioned, play longer, than when I was playing for sure. So, yeah, there's probably guys out there that can do it.
And people jokingly and talk about how LeBron is really the coach of the Cavaliers and everything else. All kidding aside, there was an era in the NBA where there were player coaches. There were those in other sports as well. Do you think that's even a remote possibility ever again? Could you ever see a player on a team being the coach?
I mean, I never say never about anything, but I think it's a little less likely. I mean, it could happen in certain cases. I mean, the last real one was probably Bill Russell, and he coached his team to a championship, but he had a little something to do with it.
Mm-hmm. What of a guy like Jason Kidd who had just run from the floor to the coach if he could be that player coach. All right, let's go on the court, or in this case, kind of the mentality on the court. New Orleans comes back 0-2, and they play their first game at home. They're up 20 going into the fourth quarter, and they end up losing the game in overtime to Golden State. Take us in the locker room of New Orleans after that game, and then going forward to try and get ready for the next game from their mental state.
Well, it's very tough to begin with because, teams coming home down 2-0, the one thing they do know is the history of the NBA, nobody has ever come back from 3-0. So it virtually is a must-win game until somebody proves it differently. And we have a couple of teams that have the opportunity right now potentially to do that. But so you come out with that desperation. You know that you're at home and you're going to get the fans behind you, and you go for it. And unfortunately, when you come up short, the job of the coach is to say, kill cliche. So you've got to play it one game at a time. And, yeah, I know nobody's ever come back from 3-0. But at some point in time, somebody's going to do it. Why not us? So the first way we do it is we had these guys on the ropes. We let it get away from ourselves. Some mental mistakes in the least. Obviously, some even physical ones. I mean, New Orleans got pounded on the offensive glass. I mean, just even in the last 5 minutes, I think Golden State had 7 offensive rebounds in the last 5 minutes. Last 5 minutes, I think New Orleans went 1 for 10. So physically, they just weren't there at that point in time. But they've got a big-time player, superstar player in Anthony Davis, plays both ends of the floor. And if they can get out to a good start again and get a lead, I think that they'll have learned some from the mistakes the last game. And for them, I mean, I think getting one victory, in the case of all the teams that are down 0-2, for the most part, the young teams, to get one victory would be a real positive step for them.
Yeah, they actually, Golden State had 10 offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter, 16 second chance points in the fourth quarter coming from 20 down. Mike and Mike Dunleavy, all 3 games last night were good. All 3 series went to 3-0, unfortunately, but all 3 games were good. And in Cleveland, the game was actually in Boston. Maybe the most important thing was that Kevin Love was heavily involved late in that game. Clutch time minutes, he's knocking down big shots. He and LeBron are doing little handshakes and dance and having fun. How are you seeing the role of Kevin Love evolving right now on Cleveland, and how do you think that has to work for them going forward if they're going to win the title this year?
I agree with you that, by far was his most significant game, particularly obviously in the playoffs. He did what, he needs to do for them. Basically, he had 10 3-pointers in that game. 6, he made 6 of them. Basically, he's there to space the floor for Kyrie and LeBron James. Kyrie and LeBron were, I think, numbers 2 and 3 in isolation points in the NBA behind James Harden last year. So that's his job. People sometimes don't understand maybe what his role is. Personally, I'd like to see him involved a little bit more because he's a great passer. I love to see him on the elbow, and then in position to be making some plays for the Cavaliers. I think there's a misnomer out there a lot of times about players they want more shots or they want this, that, and the other thing from an offense. I think a lot of times guys just really want touches, and the more touches that you get, it gives you a better feel for when it does come time for you to get a chance to shoot the basketball. And so that, along with as good of a rebounder as he is for that team, that's his job to help them bring home a championship.
Bulls get the double overtime win over Milwaukee. Derrick Rose, who comes back from meniscus surgery, kind of bringing him along. Wasn't sure how he would be through the playoffs as far as minutes and coming along. 48 minutes last night, 34 points. Is it fair to say we think he is close to 100% or what he was, or more work to get there yet?
What's interesting is, like, when guys go out, they decide, hey, I'm going to go for a workout, and I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna try and blow it out early, and try and get my wind. It's one of those things with Derrick. You're sitting there saying to yourself, wow, I wouldn't even thought before the game necessarily that he could do that because of the limited time he's played last night. But he kind of got his second win and second gear in that, when they got to the overtimes, and he was spectacular. He had the acceleration. He made 5 threes last night. So you have to have your legs under you to make make your 3-pointers. But just the way in this series that he's attacked the shooting percentage is getting, but just the fact that he was willing to do that. Late in the game last night in regulation, he attacked that rim with short seconds on the clock and took a big hit and went down. And I'm sure a lot of fans out there, were gasping at it. But just the fact that he's playing full abandon. He's not thinking about that knee. That tells me that he's feeling pretty good.
Mike Dunleavy with us again, TNT and NBA TV right now doing analysis for them. As a longtime player and a longtime coach, what's your thoughts on what's going on right now with Rajon Rondo?
It's a tough one. Basically, he went to Dallas, when the team was playing really well offensively, and they thought they were making somewhat of a trade-off. They were going to maybe a truer point guard in a sense, but that maybe that was going to help them ramp up their defense. Because the one thing that we know in the NBA, as recently as the last 15 years, there's virtually been like one team to win an NBA championship who has not been in the top 10 in defense in the league, and that was Miami. And Miami that year, they made some changes around the deadline and actually finished up the last from I think it was from the All-Star break, like number 8. So they got their defense together late in the year. Dallas offensively was rolling, but defensively they were way out of sorts. And so I think they thought this was a combination move of we're going to, help our defense, and we got a true point guard who's played big in the playoffs, who's come up with triple doubles. You see, when the lights are really shining bright, he's a guy that can step up big. And honestly, you know what? It just didn't work. He did not fit as well. He wanted to dominate the ball a little bit more. And if you're willing to go get, a guy like Rajon Rondo, you have to know that's a part of his game. I think that he needs the ball in his hands more. He needs to dominate the ball more. And you have to live with him. He's a very bright guy, but he's also I haven't experienced it personally with him, but he can be, from what I hear, pretty stubborn at times. And I think some of that kicked in here, and I'm not sure. He kind of came up with that back injury pretty quickly as far as I was concerned, and I hope it heals quick. I hope it heals better for him. But you heard Rick Carlisle say he does not expect for Rajon Rondo to ever wear a Dallas Mavericks uniform again.
Yeah, that feels like a divorce that cannot possibly come soon enough. We'll see what the next step is. Mike, we're watching you on TV and always appreciate it. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Mike.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
It's Mike Dunleavy again. You've seen him now on TNT and NBA TV. He's a very good analyst. Mm-hmm. I remember that when I went to Northwestern, I think I've told you this before, that living in Chicago, that was at the height of the Jordan sensation. It was before they were winning titles, but he was a young superstar player. You couldn't get a ticket to see a game in Chicago no matter what. But you could get tickets in Milwaukee, and that was when you live in Evanston, Illinois, which is it's like an hour and 10 minutes. So I was a lifelong Knicks fan at that point. When the Knicks would come play in Milwaukee, I would drive up there and go to the game because you could get tickets.
Right.
And I remember, for some reason, that stuck in my mind. Mike Dunleavy was an assistant coach. They had injuries on the team, and so he dressed and played. Yeah. He was an assistant coach. He would be coaching, and then every once in a while he'd go out on the court and play.
Now, Jason Kidd, like I said, he went right from the court to the bench, so he could.
There's so much that goes into coaching now that there's just no way you could do that at the same time.
No way. But it'd be fun. It'd be fun to think about, wouldn't it?
It would be fun to think about which players could do it. Like which?
Right now in the current coaching
I don't think
staffs?
it's ever happened in football. I could be wrong. But certainly in basketball and baseball, there have been many players. Pete Rose was a player manager 30 years ago. Which players in either of those sports could you see being player managers? Well, think about that. Whole lot more. Jamel and Mike on their way in studio now.